على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's been 1 year since the passing of Al-Marhuma الحاجة سامية قاسم بيضون بزي, a dear member of our community, a dear mother of our dear brother Haj Wissam Bazzi, a great mother actually of our dear brother Haj Wissam Bazzi, to whom I offer my condolences on the passing of his mother, rahmatullahi alayha, for her soul and for soul of her mother as well, the mother of our deceased, and all other deceased. I ask you to recite Surah Al-Mubarakat Al-Fatiha. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. This ayah is from Surah At-Tawbah, repentance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, there has certainly come to you a messenger from among yourselves. Grievous to him is what you suffer. He is concerned over you, and to the believers is kind and merciful. Yesterday, Rabi' 17th corresponded with the birth of our holy Prophet of Islam, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And as we celebrate his birthday, I would like to basically touch upon certain lessons or otherwise achievement of this big man, this great man. And by the way, my dear brothers and sisters, when I call our holy prophet a great man, or actually the greatest man, it is not because I'm Muslim saying this. Obviously, I'm Muslim and I believe in God, and this is a natural result. But the description of being the greatest human being has been given by non-Muslims as well. In year 1978, an American scholar called Dr. Michael Hart published a book. I still maintain the Arabic translation of that book that was translated to so many languages, including Arabic, Al-Mi'atul Awa'il, the 100 most influential human beings in the human history, and he ranked our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam number 1 as the most influential person in the human history. Now, if you're not familiar with the history of this world, and particularly the history of the Middle East, you will not be able to grasp the scope of the influence of this man, how influential he was, and how miraculous his influential was in changing a community, not 10%, not 50%, but 100%. Read the history of the Arabian Peninsula before Islam. See what historians say about Arabs before Islam. Basically, bunch of nomads who were constantly fighting with one another, killing one another, looting one another. Arabs before Islam used to pride themselves for having the following name or description. An Arab is called Al-Nahhab Al-Wahhab. It is very ironic that he prides himself to be a looter, yet a generous looter. He loots. He steals. That's how he makes living. Through looting other people, other tribes. But then he was generous. He would give up half of what he loots. So he is Nahab. He would loot. He is a thief. But at the same time, he was a generous thief that would share most of what he steals with other people. And that's how they made living. In fact, one Western scholar says if every nation has a national sport, for example, in UK, in United Kingdom, most people, that's their national sport, is soccer. That they call actually football. Football in England is equivalent to soccer. That is the most prevalent sport, the most popular sport in England. Here in this country we have probably baseball or basketball. I'm not so good at sport. The national sport of Arabs before Islam was killing one another, looting one another, raiding one another. That's how they made living. That's how life was in the Arabian Peninsula. That when darkness set at night, there is no room, there is no area, there is no place that can be safe for anyone, especially for women and children. Those warring tribals would fight constantly, and often they fight over silly reasons, petty reasons. One famous war in the Arab history is called Dahis wal-Ghabra. Dahis wal-Ghabra. What is Dahis wal-Ghabra? Dahis and Ghabra, names of two horses that each belong to a tribal chieftain. Those two horses were engaged in a race, and this race was rigged by fraud, and ultimately there was a dispute over who is the winner of the race. Is it Dahis or Al-Ghabra? And those two tribal leaders started fighting along with their tribes with one another. The war continued for 40 years. Thousands of people were killed. Thousands of people were killed in Dahis and Al-Ghabra over a silly reason. Who won the race between those two horses?